In this example here, we've plotted out sine x. So this is graph of sine x. And what we're going to do is we're going to again draw in have our tangent line here. And we're going to have this applet trace out the actual slope values of this tangent line. So we can see that, and we'll get it to trace it out. So as we move this around, so there's my horizontal tangent. So notice that the y value is going to be at 0 as I have a horizontal tangent. And as I go to 0 here, that's probably the steepest it's going to get. And notice that it's the maximum of the red graph. And again, as I move this way, I'm going to get smaller and smaller slope till it's 0. And then on this side, I'm going to get negative slope. And the red graph is just going to trace out all the slope values like that. And what ends up happening then is it traces out this red function. If this red function is very familiar to us because this red function is the cosine function. So as I trace out the y values of the slope, we're going to end up with this cosine function. And so what we can say then is the derivative of sine is going to give us the cosine graph. And we can also then take a look at the cosine graph. And we can do the same thing. So there's our cosine graph. And as I drag this point, it's going to plot out the slope value. So again, I'm going to go to my horizontal tangent. That's kind of a nice, easy place to see. It goes through y equals 0. Negative slopes are going to be in the negative y coordinates. That's as steep as it's going to get. So that's going to be the smallest or lowest that slope function is going to go. So there's the most negative. It's going to be the lowest. And again, I'm going back up to 0 slope. This is positive slope on this side. And we can see that as I trace this graph out, this graph is actually a sine function upside down. Okay, so it's an upside down sine function. And we can then say that the function that generates the slope values for cosine is going to be negative sine x. And then that justifies our derivative of cos is negative sine.